Are you ready?
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 Are you ready to forget your family and your job? World Cup, oh, oh. Football round the clock. Football round the clock. Football round the clock. World Cup, oh, oh. Football round the clock. Oh, oh, oh.
Hello and welcome to Football Around the Clock. I'm your host, Derek. Today, Charles and David join me, and we are going to talk about the World Cup. I know it's a couple weeks past us, but we're going to get our opinions out there, what we've thought of it, what we learned, what we liked, what we didn't like, and also review the final a little bit. So let's go straight into it. Let's go straight talk about the final with France against Croatia. Obviously, France winning 4-2 in the final. David, before you say you don't get worked up on this, you got any comments on the final against France?
Yeah, no, I have some initial reaction. First of all, I'm angry. I think about the reffing and about the way the game was played, but I realized also as time's gone on that I'm also angry actually because the World Cup is over. And, I just wanted more. It was actually a really good World Cup. The games were all very exciting, except for, I think, maybe France. I was least excited by their games. But all in all, fantastic World Cup. And the final was it was actually still exciting despite the fact that France kind of, shut up, they stayed back most of the time. So, yeah, I'm just sad it's over.
Yeah, that's true. It's very sad that it's over. Charles, comments on the final?
Yeah, it was kind of an interesting final. You had an own goal by Mandzukic, and then he scored another goal for Croatia to, bring him back. But it was pretty much all France in that game, from what I saw. Croatia had their moments, but you could tell France was just, I don't know if Croatia was tired from all the other extra time games and penalty kicks and whatever, but you could tell France kind of took over the game and took it to them. And, I think they just got, especially in the second half, Croatia got tired and couldn't. Mm-hmm. They kept pressing, they kept trying. They just couldn't get the ball in the back of the net. And then, 4-2, that's hard to come back from, especially late.
Yeah, if we're doing analysis, though, I know that we're you don't want to get to the points that I'm worked up yet. Or do you want me to jump into that right now, or should I hold off?
Go for it.
Okay, so I know that the whole World Cup they've talked about VAR. So Charles just mentioned it. They used it a lot, and then they didn't use it very much as the stages went further. And then now in the final they use it, and they use it incorrectly. So I'm jumping ahead because my initial argument actually starts off with Griezmann's free kick. He dove. He straight up dove. I don't think he was touched at all.
I agree.
And then they don't. I think that's the example. That's when VAR should be called in. Like, call it right there. You can't give basically like a team that focuses on set play. Like France is actually a really good set play team. You can't give them that good of an opportunity. And in a World Cup final where it's going to be a cagey match and be like, oh, yeah, he dove, like the ref didn't have a great view of it. So, that's when VAR should be called in. If you're going to call VAR in. And then in the other one, the actual VAR scenario where VAR was called in, I think like 90% of the world disagrees about that call, that they don't think it was a handball. Who was called on the handball? Was it Mandzukic? No, Perisic?
I think so.
Yeah,
I don't think it was a handball either. I agree 100%. I was so mad at that, and there's no way that was not a handball. Sorry.
Yeah, and so I understand that like every now and then in like a lower game, like these things happen, but in the final to get two calls of such magnitude, so wrong. Yeah. That's just ridiculous, and that just really infuriated me because Croatia has played with so much heart this whole tournament. And like you said, Charles, they were tired. They were almost incapable of doing some things, but they just pushed themselves and did so many incredible things. And to see the ref basically say, sorry, but France has a 2-0 advantage on you. You know, they have two extra goals.
Yeah.
That's incredible. How are you supposed to, how's any team supposed to fight against that?
Yeah.
And so this is the main reason I'm worked up, because I hate people giving undue credit. And so most of the commentary that I got was talking about, that I've read, was like talking about how good France did. And I admit France looked good in the second half, but that's because Croatia had to come from 2 goals down and work their tails off to get any opportunity to get back in. They scored 2 incredible goals, and they're dead. They're dead tired. Of course, France is going to do well against a team where they can just sit there and counterattack. If there's anything we've learned from this World Cup, it's, you know, counterattacking in these scenarios is going to be very effective, and that's what France did. So don't give me some BS that France was a better team. They got 2 goals gifted to them, and then they just played the smart way, which is counterattacking and defensive and not letting Croatia do anything. And by the end, Croatia was so tired they couldn't do anything anyway. So I think it was unfortunate for Croatia. That's my main takeaway. That's my real big rant, that, you know, Croatia, I think, should be giving way more plaudits they are, and France should I don't know, they shouldn't do that. If you're going to do VAR, then please call out the good things, and then have like the people in the booth be like, I'm sorry, dude, that's not a handball. What's wrong with you for calling that? So anyway, Ray would have said something.
You know, I know the rules. It states your hand or arm in an unnatural position. And I've argued this with a few other people. And they're, well, his hand was way out here. And I'm like, yeah, because he was coming up with his leg. So his arms are out to give him balance. Because he was bringing his leg up to try to kick the ball, you know, or go up. And he was bringing his leg up while he's keeping balance. And then the ball, that's not a handball, in my opinion. He's not,
especially because he was like not purposely doing him.
Exactly.
Yeah. And so the main thing is that the refs have an incredible amount of leeway in situations like this. It's not like the ref was like, oh, I'm forced to call that because he hit it with his...
VAR? They're supposed to review everything. So if you didn't call it, a lot of times VAR calls the ref and say, hey, we're reviewing this. Hold on. Why didn't they do that?
But the ref still has the discretion to go to VAR. He can decide not to. FIFA has given them so much discretion that they can decide to go to it or not to go to it.
Yeah, so in the handball incident, like, he did go to it, though, and so he's checking, right? And he's, like, leaving. And so a lot of people argue because, like, he was checking, looking for a while, then he kind of started walking away, then he went back, looked at it once more, and then called it. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that that's when he made his decision. But either way, there was nothing forcing him to say, like, it was very obvious from the beginning, this is a handball in the box.
Yeah.
Right? So it wasn't so much, is that the question? The bigger question was if the ref thought that it was purposeful, if he thought that it was in a unnatural position, and basically if in his feeling that it should have been called for a PK. And I don't know what pushed him that way, because 90% of the other people in the world and most other refs were like, yeah, no, that was not a handball. Most of the experts were saying, yeah, that was not a handball. So other than giving France a two-goal lead, I don't know what else it was. So I don't know. That's when I see I'm like, that was a little iffy. So
yeah. I thought France played great up until this game. They did kind of look like the team of the tournament, in my opinion. I mean, I picked them in 3 brackets before the tournament, just how they looked in qualifying and leading up to the World Cup. And, you know, in the group stages, they played more of their usual possession ball. But then against Argentina, they switched when they got to the knockout stage, playing this sit back and counterattacking type of ball, and it worked against the big teams, and it got them the trophy. So I handed to him for changing it up and kind of confusing the other teams a little bit. But you're right. I think this one, the ref had a lot to do with it.
Yeah, especially
France has a lot of talent, you know.
Yeah, no, I give them all the credit in the world for their talent and for their dedication to sticking to a plan. But it's not like Pogba's goal was incredible. I don't think that was incredible. He was way too cocky about it. Mbappe's goal was it was a good shot, but I think Croatia could have done better if they were a little more aware. They were just so tired at that point. So
Yeah.
I don't know. And of course,
Sorry, we lost connection there. You were saying, David?
Yeah. So my main point was just that the ref has so much discretion in handball scenarios that he should have been able to decide better. And with everyone else basically saying that he decided wrong, that's an incredible mark against him, along with being duped by that Griezmann flop. Like both of those are just big marks against him. And in a game like this, you can't have two of that magnitude. You can maybe one, but the two game deciding bad calls, that really hurts me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, while you guys are talking about this, I've been just looking back and watching replay over and over and over, and I don't know. I'm gonna give the ref some leeway in this because he was put in a pretty difficult position because the player went up, he has hands up like he's using like his leverage like to get more height and stuff, and then he's on his way down, and then the ball hit his hand as his hand was going down. Like when he's like, it looked like he was trying to put his hands like behind his back or to his side, but as he was doing that, like the ball hit his hands, and then it looked like he made a swiping motion. So I think
it looks like he's like accelerating it, right?
Yeah. Like right when the ball hits his hand, he makes like a swiping motion, and so I think that's what made the ref decide that as a literal handball because maybe he just reacted to the ball hitting his hand and he made that swiping motion like not even thinking about it, but whatever he did or didn't even think he did, the ref saw that there's something there and gave the PK. So.
Yeah, I just disagree. I think that you could see it as that, but most of the angles, it looks like he's just trying to get his hands behind his back, and it's so hard for defenders anyway.
Yeah,
I don't think that he had time to really react and make a decision to like handball it.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. The defender is put in a really like awkward and difficult position, and I think he just got really unlucky.
Yeah, it's just frustrating to me that was in the World Cup final, and it was the second giant decision that led directly to a French goal, and then no one talks about that. This is one of those things that, like, I think this should be a tainted like win for France because two such goals, but like they don't, we're not going to talk about it in the future. So I want to be full of righteous rage for Croatia because I think they deserve so much more than they got. Second place in the World Cup is not bad. But it's just not remembered. Like, imagine if they had won. It would have been incredible. They gained so many fans, though, and it's really they did such an incredible job. So hopefully this will lift them. But this was their golden generation, too. Like, sure, they always have great midfielders, but when did they have good enough defenders and good enough strikers? So
yeah. And they actually have a pretty young team, so we'll see in 4 years. There's only a few guys that are on the older side. So
they have a pretty young team, but the pieces are together right now. And in 4 years, who knows what will happen? So,
who knows? Yeah. Exactly.
Let's move quickly to the post-game awards. First one being we got Mbappe earning the FIFA Young Player Award for the FIFA World Cup. Not arguably the favorite there. Mbappe is a rising star. A lot of people, I saw something on Facebook today, and or YouTube, can't remember which, comparing Messi, Ronaldo, and Mbappe when they're all 19. So Mbappe is 19 right now. They're comparing Messi and Ronaldo when they're 19 too. So when Ronaldo is 19, he's at Man U, and so they just showed like a bunch of stats, and they're like, yeah, Mbappe is not that good compared to Ronaldo and Messi when they were 19. And so, I don't know, maybe the stats are like showing it for themselves that, he's still learning and stuff, but you never know. He could hit a spark and then take off.
There's a lot of things about that, right? Like you can say, well, they're different players. Well, Cristiano Ronaldo and Messi are absolute legends of the game. I think that there might be a chance that they're showing a deeper flaw in his game, but everyone right now is riding high on him, and he's only 19. He can keep growing, so I'm not going to say anything too bad. But as for winning the award, I think he deserved it. Out of all the young players, I think he was one of the best and most impressive. always.
Yeah, I agree.
His moments of magic were incredible.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's one of the best young players coming up, and I hate these comparisons with legends and stuff. Ronaldo and Messi, time when they were 19, it was a different game than it is now. And they grew with the game. They're legends now. Let him do his thing, and maybe he will be the number one in the world when he's at their age.
Mm-hmm.
And the game's going to be a little bit different than it is now. So I don't like comparing these, 10, 20, 30 years ago to players now because the game's different. So, but as for him being the best young player in the World Cup, yeah, I agree. I think he's the number one choice.
Yep, no doubt there. All right, let's move to the next award, being the Gold Ball Award. Adidas Gold Ball Award was won by Luka Modric. This award was given to the player with the most touches throughout the World Cup. So touches, combination of touches and passes. So yeah, that tells a lot about Luka Modric, how he's crucial to Croatia, and how much he gets on the ball and drives the team forward.
Yeah, having a player like that in midfield just changes it, and you can see how important it was for Croatia. They played a couple different teams, like in very different styles, and each time he just brought his class that really was almost unsurpassed in the tournament. I think that he was one of the classiest players all around.
Yep.
So I'm extremely glad for him. And if you know the story of Croatia, you know that a lot of Croatians actually don't like Luka Modric because of like a random historic back drama in Croatia. So I think that it's just really good for him to get that, and hopefully it'll bring Croatia as a team together and the people together and create opportunities for them in the future.
Yeah, he deserves this award. I mean, if you watch Croatia play through the whole World Cup, he was their engine room. He made everything happen. He was on the ball so much. Yeah, hands down, he deserved this.
With no doubt. All right, let's move to the next award, being Golden Boot Award. I was about to say surprisingly won by Harry Kane with 6 goals, but with Lukaku in Belgium also being knocked out, there wasn't really any competition with Griezmann, Mbappe, and I think Giroud sharing all 3 goals each on France. So they had to score, each hat trick to catch up to Kane to get that golden boot. But Kane came out with that award, which says a lot for Harry Kane. He proved to the world that he can score and that he's worth something, and definitely marked up his value on the board. So hopefully this is going out there to transfer, but hopefully Tottenham can be able to keep him. But we'll see when that comes around. Thoughts, David?
I heard a stat. I think it was. I'm missing one country, but it's like, what do Panama and England have in common? And the answer was they both lost 2 games, or something like that. So that's a little harsh, but because the second game that England lost, of course, was the 3rd place game, and there's no real despair in that. I do think that he put a lot of easy goals in, but at the same time, he was very classy. And I think this actually opened up like opportunity for him to go to like a different club outside of England, which is usually pretty rare for English players. So I could, everyone for the past 3 years has been saying like, Real Madrid's Harry Kane, but it was kind of like tongue in cheek because Beckham has been like the last real good English player to go anywhere. And, but I could see that. If I don't think Tottenham's going to let him go, but I could easily see him going somewhere like Real Madrid. I don't think he fits Barcelona's playing style, but Real Madrid or Bayern actually I think could easily work.
Yeah, thoughts, Charles?
Yeah, wasn't his 6 goals all in one game? Wasn't it that 6-1? No, I have really nothing to say. He's a great player. Hope Tottenham can keep him. 6 goals. Nobody else can match that. Yeah, he deserves this trophy.
And the truth is, even though they all were in he scored a hat trick in one of the games, which is half his goals.
Yeah.
He really causes a bunch of problems, and he's very good at creating. So that's, I guess, what my point was, that he has this he opens up and creates things. He does things for England that no other normal English striker does. Usually English strikers are like Jamie Vardy, which are kind of like pests, and they get in there fast, or they're like, fox in the box. They're really good at putting it away, but that's about it. So Harry Kane is a quantity for England that they haven't had in a long time, and he really opens up. So congrats to them, congrats to England, congrats to Tottenham.
Yeah, and it wasn't all on set pieces.
Yeah.
It's true.
Not all of it.
All right, let's move to the next award, which is Golden Glove Award. I had to read up on this one because I wasn't sure what they were going off, and it's kind of up in the air. Like, so the winner of this award, Thibaut Courtois got the winner for this World Cup for the Golden Glove, but the winner was chosen by a board that determined who was the best overall performing keeper in the tournament, not like who had the most saves or who went furthest or anything. It was determined by a board. So I assume that they went off saves and maybe ratings or whatever. I don't know, but yeah, congrats to Courtois.
Yeah, I think that Lloris actually played better, and I know that he had that big gaffe in the final, but to tell you the truth, like, he saved them in like 3 or 4 other games, and they should have got scored on quite easily. He pulled off some magnificent saves.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not saying that Courtois didn't. I'm just saying that I thought Lloris was more important. So I don't know. That's my opinion, but I guess congrats to Courtois.
Yeah, he had a few fantastic saves in some of those games. So not surprising he didn't get it, but there was a couple other ones. I mean, was it Sobadic from Croatia also?
Yeah. If he wasn't injured,
he had a lot of good saves.
If he wasn't injured in the final, you think that it would have been a different game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so congrats, Courtois. All right. So that's the World Cup. It's over. Sad to see it gone.
4 more years.
4 more years till we go to Qatar and
USA.
And then 8 more years till we go to USA, Mexico, and Canada. That's really exciting. Can't wait for that one. So yeah, right now I have the round of 16 all the way to the final up there. Crazy games. I'm just looking at from Russia to Croatia's 2-1 win over England. That's just in that upper right corner of the tournament.
Yeah.
It's nothing but PKs.
Yeah, that was so much.
You never see that.
Yeah, so much work. That's insane.
So, yes, a lot of crazy games. Definitely worth going back and watching them and reviewing them. And yeah, all right. I want to go around the clock a little bit and ask you guys. First off, what's the most important thing you've learned from this World Cup? Starting with you, Charles. Or most valued thing you learned from the World Cup?
Don't overestimate your opponent. That was, I think, the biggest flaw for the big teams in this tournament. And then maybe talent is getting more equal. The possession teams had a lot of trouble against teams sitting back, playing defense and counterattacking against them. And then I think one of the biggest things I learned, possession ball is not what people think it is. We've seen the biggest flaws of possession style ball in the World Cup and how you can beat teams that play possession ball. So that's something what I've learned. And then don't underestimate your opponent.
I have to agree. Just I was going to say the counterattack was really important, and I think maybe it will continue to be important until teams play smarter, meaning like they don't play pure possession, kind of like Charles was saying. And the second thing is I hope that Spain learns this, that you can't fire your coach the day before 2 days before the World Cup and expect to be successful. They were just too cocky. So if I was to expand that, I'd say you can't be cocky anymore. These, like Charles was saying, these smaller teams, these other teams are gonna play really well. They're getting better. They, even the Morocco, they had like a player at Real Madrid. Most of those small clubs, they still had one or two players that was pretty solid, somewhere. So you can't, and then as a team, they're working together as a team really well. So, which I think made this World Cup so enjoyable. You were able to see things that, So, that's my main takeaway.
Yeah,
and Neymar's a great flopper or roller, I should say.
He's still rolling. Let's see if he's keep rolling at PSG or if he rolls over to Real Madrid.
No, hopefully not.
I think the main takeaway I got from the World Cup was, I guess you guys mentioned a little bit, was it like motivation and unity of all the teams. Like you saw it in Mexico when they came against Germany, and you saw it in a lot of the teams, especially like Nigeria, Croatia, Japan, Sweden. Like they took it to the teams because people were saying, you don't have a chance.
Yeah,
you're facing a big team. Yeah. You don't have a chance. And then like, okay, watch this. And then they show up. And so I think that's opened the world's eyes and all the players' eyes, saying, hey, we do have a chance. We can beat these guys if we work as a team, if we prove our own talent. And so that's what I got out of the World Cup.
Yeah.
This is a fantastic. I mean, who would imagine? I mean, Russia going on, Sweden and Switzerland playing each other in a knockout round. I mean, this is a great World Cup. This is fantastic.
Yep. Sad that it's gone. It's been an exciting month, or like almost a month and a half. Mm-hmm. So, thanks for joining us tonight. Make sure we'll look out for our other podcasts coming up, talk about transfer news, and we're going to soon preview the leagues and Champions League and Europa League and top 4 leagues being Serie A, Premier League, La Liga, and Bundesliga. So look out for those videos, and we'll see you next time.